Michella, welcome.
Yep. Thank you, John. Good to see you, and thank you for having me.
Sure. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Michella Tang-Otter. I am a marketing professional by training. I have had a marketing career for 10 years by now, working for Fortune 500 brands running their Amazon businesses, including Mars, Campbell's, Samsung, and Johnson and Johnson. So I would describe myself like as somebody who has a career ADHD. I found
Mhm.
myself like changing a career or doing something completely new around every 8 to 10 years. So
Mhm.
before becoming a marketer, I had an academic research career, and now I am hitting the 10-year mark of my marketing career. I am doing real estate at the same time.
Can you tell us a little bit about your academic research career?
Right, yeah. So I went to Princeton for my PhD and then discovered that I did not really want to write a book. I was working in the academia, which only a handful of people will read. Working in the academia or academic research in general is something that would force you into knowing a topic very, very deeply. But like it would be, you can be actually a little bit narrow viewed. So because of this, like I decided to leave. I have spent time in organizations such as the Rockefeller Foundation Archives, uh, and also University of Chicago doing academic research work for scholars and professors over there. But yeah, like I end up finding my home in marketing and now real estate because it is fully utilizing my left brain and my right brain.
Got it. So how did you make that transition from research into marketing?
Right. This is just like from going from academia to marketing and going from marketing to real estate. I pretty much have the same process. I just like force myself to um, learn about it and find myself mentors on the road. And also, one thing I am a little bit not like other people is that there are people out there who likes to get the hands dirty, do the work before and then go into a industry. I am a little bit different. I don't like doing the work and getting my hands dirty immediately. I like researching the landscape of the industry and how things are done. This can very often come from books and also other people's blog posts and even published articles online that would tell you some of the very basic do's and don'ts. I found myself being in a good spot by doing this because I am able to absorb some of the experience from other people avoiding mistakes even before I get started.
Okay, that's interesting because I'm kind of similar in that when I got into real estate, it was nonstop 8 to 12 hours a day of books, podcasts, YouTube. At what point do you decide that you've accumulated enough information and now it's time to start taking action?
Right. I have a habit of writing down very detailed research notes on everything. Uh, the time I decided that is about time for me to take action is the time I see that my research notes are detailed enough for me to figure out step by step what to do to take something from start to finish. This actually also means that when I am reading a book or an article, I am reading a book and an article critically to figure out how people are doing things step by step and how I am going to replicate those processes as well. So this is very important to me. I am always very focused on building stand like SOPs and also processes on my way to go in order to avoid mistakes like at the best I can, and also to make sure that I am hitting all the things to check on to avoid mistakes.
Gotcha. Okay, so then You get to a point where there's enough notes and enough detail that you feel comfortable moving forward. So what was your first deal then?
Yeah, this is very interesting. My first deal was a 8 unit deal in Illinois, which is not that great, I have to
Mhm.
admit. So at that time, I have partners investing in Illinois together with me, and we encounter a number of problems in the field, even though we are hitting all the things internally from a process standpoint. One of the things that really caught me off guard is actually our encounter of pretty obvious racism, I have to say. At that
Mhm.
time, like we have different partners calling different property management company to get boots on the ground to help us. But like we actually, there were actually times that property management would refuse to work with us, but like they answer our white male colleagues call very quickly and agree to work with him. So while like some of our other partners are all Asian Americans or Asians, so I am a little bit surprised that the racism and the display of it is so obvious in this incident because like I come from a very diverse city and like I have always like went to school and live in like a very accepting and also diverse cities as well. So yeah, this is surprising. And also like we the deal also end up falling into the cracks because sorry, yeah. Um, because we discovered that the seller actually want to use this deal or want to use us to hide from some of the fees that he has to pay to the former property management company or other lien holders. So I guess like this is also like one of the like parts or the lessons that we learn. You can have a process, but like you also bear the responsibility of go getting into a deal, refining your process to avoid further mistakes. And this is exactly what we did out of this Illinois deal.
Gotcha. Okay, so then there's a lot of things that you just would not have picked up in a book or just through studying other people's uh, cases, right? So,
Mhm.
do you think that you got in at the right time in terms of taking action, or looking back, would you have taken action sooner? Just understanding there's so many different unknowns that it's impossible to prepare for all of them, or would you have waited longer and try to do more research?
I think I took action at the right time. And I have no like it's a great lesson. We lost money, but it is bearable. So I think like my advice to other people as well is that when you are ready to take action, work with other people, partner with people who has the experience to minimize the chances of you failing. Also, that also opens up the door for you to learn from other people. Also, getting into small deals, taking baby steps, and then roll up, that would give you a bigger chances of successing because like at that time for a smaller deal, failure is something that is still bearable for you.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the approach I took. I went with single family homes to start off with, but you just kind of jumped into a eight unit right from the start. How did you build that team, or did you join someone's team to get that deal done?
Right. I have a friend who is also interested in doing this together with me. And then I was also proactively approached by people who have an active social media presence at that time. So we decided to join forces. And also, of course, like when you're working with strangers, your trust level of other people has to be really, really high. So ideally, like these are people like who are your friends and family who whom you have known for a long time, or if you're working with a complete stranger or starting to work with a complete stranger, ideally that would be it would be great if you can along the road, like this ask questions, working with them very closely to figure out about their personality.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So so you said you had a friend that wanted to work with you. Is this someone that you have known for a while?
Yes, for this time in the team, we have somebody who I have known for many years. We also work with a new partner, but in our encounter, we know that that person is very is like trustworthy. He is very serious with the work, and also I another thing that we can talk about and see what other people think about is that I personally prefer working with working professionals like me who has a W-2 job because when they have multiple stream of income and also treat real estate as another stream of income, they are less eager to jump into a bad deal. So now, although different people have different opinions, I personally prefer working with partners who have a W-2 job or a second job.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense because understand that that people don't need the deal and are looking for I can actually be patient and wait, then yeah, that makes sense. What is your role in the partnership?
Yeah, so in different teams and in different partnership structures, I can be playing different roles. I think after doing this for over 2 years, I have played all kinds of roles, including the business integrator, underwriter, and also the capital raiser. In that particular Illinois deal, I am the main designer or main um, operations person who brings the deal all the way from start to finish. Of course, we also utilize this opportunity to document everything from start to finish, and it becomes the SOP of all our future deals. So, for other deals, I can be playing a role as an underwriter or a capital raiser.
Out of those three different operator in an underwriter and capital raiser, which one do you enjoy the most?
Interesting. It is tricky. I will be saying it in a very transparent way.
Mhm.
I personally enjoy playing the business integrator role the most. But a lot of business owners or a lot of people out there or partners in general do not regard business integrators as people who directly impact sales. So they don't get value as much as the backbone of the business. So one of the challenges if you play the business integrator role is that it is somewhat difficult for you to get paid actually. And this is just a reality check.
Mhm.
Um, Underwriter actually has a lot of overlaps with business integrators or operations people, I would say, surprisingly. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about it or talking enough about it. The more I deep dive into underwriting, the more I see that actually the way underwriting works is that you go through the deal from start to finish. And on the way, you're researching about the future prospect of the deal. And then you come back and put information back to the underwriting spreadsheet. This would actually means that each number you enter into the underwriting spreadsheet has a meaning and it represents one facet of the business. So to me, I would recommend to other people as well, if you are looking to become an underwriter of multifamily, which is a role that I truly enjoy, you actually need to know operations. And the way to think about underwriting, all the way to train yourself to be a good underwriter is that round one, you go through how multifamily people do underwriting. And in round two, go through a deal from start to finish and go back and reflect what are things that you can build back into your underwriting and what those numbers really mean in your business from an operational standpoint.
So it's basically do the work, and then once it's all said and done, go back and check your work. Is that what it is?
Yes and no. Because there are a lot of things in the underwriting that you may not realize or you may not think about how to do that part of underwriting without going through the process. The most obvious example would be loan structures. Actually, the right way of doing underwriting is to have come up with the napkin underwriting or initial underwriting first, and then go talk to a actual loan broker or a lender to to figure out the structure of the loan and how different things will fall into different places, and then go back to build the entire structure back into your underwriting. So it is not only about checking, it is also about researching and understanding the structure of how different things works. Because there is an internal structure with loans, for example, there can be an internal structure with insurance as well, for example, which are all the biggest ticket items in underwriting.
Got it. Okay, thank you for clearing that up. And then, so for the capital raising, what do you like and what do you not like about that role?
Huh. Well, maybe I have a career ADHD, like there isn't really a thing I don't like about all the roles that I have played. Um, Capital raising is challenging or not that easy. Like I thought, I think a lot of people mistakenly thought that capital raising is easy if you know a lot of people. The
Mm.
reality is that it is a very long process. Um, Actually, like some of the capital raisers out there I have seen are also the best underwriters or the best evaluators of a deal, because somehow they have seen enough things to tell immediately whether a deal works or not. So sometimes, like getting the buy-in of other capital raisers to work together with you on a deal is not that easy. And if you yourself are thinking about becoming a capital raiser, what I would recommend is to uh, sit down and think about what investor avatar you want to focus on. No one knows everything and no one can be anyone. So having a focus and work on only one type of investor avatar can potentially be very helpful. And then you tailor all the messages and all the thinking and the system design around how to appeal to those people to invest in the deals you're capital raising for. So, for example, I personally raise capital from tech workers because I know a layer deeper, like how they think. A lot of people only see that they have a busy work lifestyle and also that tech workers has a lot of money because they have stock options from companies. But a lot of people don't realize are actually two things. One, a lot of tech workers are international professionals in the States working on visas. So the way I talk to them is that let's use real estate to give you back some free time so you don't have to stop working immediately and your income doesn't stop immediately coming when something happens to your overseas family members, and just like
Mm.
really hit the ground running. And I have received like countless crying calls over the phone actually when I talk about this. And like on the other end of the phone is a tech worker. Another thing I would highlight for tech workers is that you have to dig one deeper layer about why they hate their job. In fact, like tech is a very stressful environment that a lot of people or a lot of teams have the target to chase after the operational excellence of the top 1% of the 1%. This actually means that there is limited things that is left to do, and everyone is struggling to prove their value in the work. And that makes their work very robotic and very boring and very unsatisfying. So these are also things like that you can hit on when highlighting why these tech workers would want to leave their job. And like it doesn't, if you like pick up those things such as they really hate their job, they don't like working, and they just want to like completely retire and enjoy their and travel all the time, there is a slight risk that you are hitting the wrong points because like they are people who loves to learn, who loves to research. It's just that the job is not satisfying. It doesn't mean that in their retirement life they are chasing after a life that has that like they are completely not doing anything.
That's interesting because typically when you are talking about like direct to seller acquisitions, you're always looking for pain points. But then here, when you're raising capital, it seems like it's pretty similar in that you're hitting pain points. Like you have family back overseas that you need to be able to go and visit. So you need more, you need to generate some type of extra income in addition to your W-2. Or you might not be satisfied, or the avatar that you're talking to might not be satisfied in their current role. So how can we supplement their income so that they have more options available to them? Is that
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And yeah, I think like we're this is actually a good time to be capital raising for real estate deals. I am starting to hear from people who works in the Silicon Valley that they don't like the job. The tech industry is getting more and more hectic or unforgiving. And at the same time, like more and more people are accepting the idea of becoming a slasher or having multiple stream of income. Not exactly because they don't like the money they're making, they make good enough money. It's just that like the job is suffocating enough that there is risk of layoffs, there is risk of burnout, needing a break, or things like that. So yeah, these are things that I am seeing in the front line of doing business as well.
And why is it that I mean, is that the main avatar that you work with, or do you work with multiple avatars?
Yeah, I choose to be laser focused on uh, only working on only this avatar. And part of the reason is that I married a software engineer, so I know how they think. And
Hmm.
like interesting enough, like a lot of software engineers think exactly like my husband. They don't like their job. They feel that like the salary is the golden handcuff because like the paycheck is high.
Hmm.
They want to retire, but they don't necessarily want to retire to travel. They want to retire to have the choice to do things they like. So the main point is to give them choices. And it turns out that a lot of friends around us who are also software engineers or data scientists in general think exactly that way as well.
That makes sense. So you have a connection to someone, that type of avatar, so that's why you target that
Mhm,
audience, right? And then so
mhm.
only focusing on that one type of individual. I mean, how do you market to those types of people?
Yep, you have to understand how they think. In general, tech workers are very data driven. They are very skeptical with any marketing messages, and they don't trust you. They only trust data and numbers. So all the things I present to them, uh, I have I show the full underwriting all the time, and I use like data-driven approaches to show why certain market is selected. In fact, I don't only say it, I do it myself as well. For example, I recently got approached by a friend to help evaluate a deal. And I asked her immediately whether she was shown the full underwriting of the deal, and she said not yet. And she's not sure whether like the full underwriting will be shown to her. And my immediate response is that uh, I personally would not invest in any deal that does not show me the full underwriting. And when I say full underwriting, I mean I need to see all the tabs in the workbook. I need to see how all the numbers come from. I don't want to see only one sheet saying like the IRR and the equity multiple. And
Right.
like I don't uh I don't only say it, I do it myself for all the deals that I capital raise for, or deals of my own. I always share the full underwriting with all the investors.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest issues I've had is when I look at these deals, I see the numbers, I see the underwriting, but then how do I trust that the numbers even in the underwriting is correct or even reasonable because it's all theoretical at that time. So how do you explain to someone that this is what we expect to happen based on our research? You can trust these numbers.
Mhm. Mainly two things. One, we have institutional grade data tools or data bank that can show us like uh, market data of what certain units can be rented for in a market. And the second thing would be telling your investors that we have worked with a property management company on the ground directly to look at the numbers, and they verify as well that these are trustworthy numbers. In fact, like I have to admit, as an passive investor, it is really hard sometimes to look at the numbers and see for yourself whether it is trustworthy or not. Um, there are several things I can uh, recommend. One, I have definitely seen T12 and RAM rolls being fabricated, even, which means
Mhm.
even the source of truth is completely wrong. So by then, it would be great for you to um, go verify, like with another person who has operations experience on the ground or other investors, whether they are seeing similar numbers in the market and hopefully a close enough locale. Yeah, another thing is that you can also go back to the also like ask some of the friends who have access to large databases such as a Craxi or CoStar to look things up for you. There are also open data sources such as like datausa.io, which gives you pretty good data about like the market overview. Like those, so these would be things that like you can think about and verify. And by the way, another thing I would highlight is that if you as an investor are only shared the OM, the offering memorandum, which is basically a marketing document created on a PowerPoint or a PDF format. There is totally a chance that the number on an OM is completely different from the actual underwriting sheet. So you always have to compare the two.
Yeah, again, because the OM is like best case scenario. This is what we think can happen, but it's
Mhm.
like basically it's like buying a house because someone says, "Oh, I think it can rent for $2,000 a month," but property management says, "Oh, this is the market rent for this house is only 1,500 a month."
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm. There are also situations where the OM would list out all the expenses and like all the both like the current rent and the projected rent, and the number simply does not match what is in the underwriting sheet.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you were reviewing the rent rolls in the T12s, like how did you determine that the numbers were just completely false?
Yeah. By experience, well, you can do your own research or you can tell by experience. Of course, like the you can only tell by experience if you know enough about that market. But If you want, there is also one way to verify. Go to Zillow to check on similar units of a similar size and the exact same room number to see what rents they are collecting or they are listing for. Um, Always go by the number of rooms because this is also how renters go ahead and look for rental properties in the market, and then see like uh, like see for yourself. Some of the listings that belongs to the bigger apartment buildings, how much are they listing the units for? They are actually pretty sensitive to market changes, and sometimes they also offer you a phone number that you can call their office directly to see whether there is concessions. These will be hints about the actual uh, rent they are getting versus the pro forma. And then you go after getting those numbers and information, the real trustworthy ones in the market, you can go ahead and think back whether like what the location difference and also like the whether a unit is upgraded or not can also impact like the a unit actual rental income, then that will all these things together will give you a better idea of whether those rents presented in the underwriting is trustworthy.
Yeah, it makes sense. So then when you're looking at what's available out there versus what's on the OM, do you adjust percentage wise of, okay, so let's say that the rents in this one building, brand new building, are 2,000 a month per for two bedroom, and then how would you compare that to one that you're evaluating where maybe it's not completely updated right now, but it's in a similar location, similar amenities around.
Mm-hmm. Your very first, we have actually been there before, interestingly.
Mhm.
The very first thing you would want to do is to look up whether there is an apartment building upgraded of a similar size on the same street or in a nearby area. Very often, this would be a hint of oversupply, and you know that you will not be getting the pro forma rent. Amount and then after getting the information of nearby buildings or apartment buildings, look at their condition. Are they renting in more than you or less than you? And like, is this related to location, distance to highway, or is this related to the condition of the units, whether it is upgraded or not? And then if in case you run into situations that of you are the only building that is not upgraded and all other buildings on the same street are upgraded, then you probably want to also like look up in a database that, what the absorption is like for rental properties, and then think about whether you are still will able to get the pro forma rent when the supply is so high, and even though all the units are upgraded, they will all be forced to push down their rents when there isn't simply enough people to rent units from all those apartment buildings.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's just a lot that goes into underwriting. I mean, with single family homes, it's pretty easy, but with multifamily, it seems like there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so as you were doing your research and getting started, what was the biggest mindset hurdle that you had to get over?
Um, the word multi and big is scary. I think a lot of people like had that experience. Um, I'll be honest here. Now in reflection, and I think like my mentors or um, my experienced colleagues are totally right. People who talk about multifamily don't really know multifamily. And this is interesting in that um, a lot of people are thinking big about they want to do big things. That's why they want to get into multifamily. They know about the scalability of it. They know about like the better cash flow that can be driven by the lower vacancy rate, which is all fair. Um, this can be a mindset blockage that stops you from doing great things. But at the same time, this can also be a blind spot, I will argue, that stops people from doing further research. Because now in reflection, when I look back into my career, I feel pretty strongly that in fact, when I get into multifamily, the thing that I don't know enough about the multifamily world 2 years ago back then is the business model. Actually, a lot of multifamily people do multifamily without knowing clearly what the revenue model is like. And this can make them end up doing a lot of things that are somewhat related to multifamily, but they keep failing to monetize over their efforts. This is actually very important. So if you are interested in getting into multifamily, the thing I would encourage you to do is to think about and to really thoroughly study how this business works and what is the business model behind it, how this business model makes money. And this would determine for you what role you want to play and how you are going to uh, navigate through different things to make this business work so you avoid doing a lot of things that is somewhat related to multifamily and you brand yourself as somebody who does multifamily but end up not making money down the road in 1 to 2 years.
So how do most people make money in multifamily?
Right. Immediate test question here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, very transparent answer that not a lot of people will tell you out there. Multifamily people actually makes money by leveraging other people's money. A lot of really successful multifamily investors out there actually uh, you like makes money by putting no money into the deal because they can raise capital from other people. Is this wrong? Not necessarily. Because there are a lot of things that an operator can do even without putting the money, and it does not mean that they are taking a lower risk. For example, even in situations that they are signing a non-recourse loan, they are responsible for loans, and like banks can chase after them if like they run into what is called a bad boy situation because they're under so-called a bad boy guarantee, meaning that if one partner like files bankruptcy, everything would be sharing the liability of that loan, and that would immediately turn the loan from non-recourse to a recourse loan. And another thing is that uh, like operators can also be uh, responsible for running the whole deal, uh, handling a lot of tasks. So you can think of them as like getting an equity share by sweat equity as well. And of course, like operators also like have fees that they can charge like from managing the deal, and that's their payout. So like in short, I've talked about a lot of things. What I'm trying to say here is that multifamily people make money by charging a fee to manage a deal, and like more sophisticated ones or successful ones may be at a very good position to raise capital, can be making money from the deal without putting in their own money. This would sound like that they are indeed in a very advantageous position. But remember, like in many multifamily cases, they cannot walk away from the deal and they cannot walk away from the loan. You, as a passive investor, can. So, this is the way they make money, but it is not necessarily a way that they make money uh, in a more advantageous positions or having more advantageous tools just because they are not putting money into the deal.
Yeah, I mean, I used to think that I wanted to be an operator, and then I was operating like 15 doors. I wasn't even running the other 11 that I had. And I don't want to be an operator. It's not fun. It's not an enjoyable experience. It's not what I like to do. I'd much
Mhm,
rather be a limited partner. And I think a lot of people get hung up on the fact that yes, operators or general partners might not put any money in the deal, but they're also having to deal with all the stress of actually making sure that everything is taken care of, the loans paid off, things are supposed to get done, what's supposed to get done, the limited partners are getting paid out, what the pro forma says they were supposed to get paid out.
mhm.
So there are advantages and there are pros and cons to both sides. Is it
Exactly.
which one would you rather be on? Would you rather be having the stress of operating it, or would you just take the money that you have sitting in your bank account and be a limited partner?
Um, I don't have a preference. I like going deep into the processes. Maybe I'm a control freak and that's why. But
Mhm.
like I would say one thing, I think there is still a lot of misunderstanding or even some of the perceived value of seeing GPs having more control or GPs that definitely knowing more or being more knowledgeable than LPs. This is simply not true. I have definitely encountered professional limited partners who knows every deal inside out, who would evaluate underwriting from GPs all the time, and they actually have the ability to do their underwriting even, and they know way more than GP does. So, though another unforgiving way to say it is that they have seen enough shit to
Mhm.
tell what is good and what is bad.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think like what is happening here around us, um, from an atmosphere standpoint, is that there's still a lot of misunderstanding of GP definitely do more and know more. GPs definitely is superior in some ways, like GPs being superior to LPs. These are just like simply not true, and these are also values that needs to be changed.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to work with GPs that know more than me as a LP just because I don't have that experience in that in these worlds like in RV parks like where I'm going. And
Mm.
so yeah, I target GPs that have more experience in the hopes that I get to learn and understand better so I can become a more knowledgeable LP and evaluate deals uh, better than I can now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, what's some advice that you give to yourself uh, back when you're knowing what you know now? What's some advice you'd give to yourself when you're just getting started?
Mm, yep. Um, it would be the same. I would, um, no matter what you do, understand the revenue model, how people make money, and evaluate what is the most important thing that it contributes to that revenue model. Some real estate deal structures makes money on the buy. Some makes money on the sale. It really depends on that what you like to do. There is nothing wrong with either. And of course, like there are also options or deals that you make money by being part of the process. So deep dive into understanding how people make money in these structures, what role you can play that would make you eligible to get paid, and then decide for yourself whether those things aligns to your interest or not. If you do not go through this process and rather go onto YouTube or read books just to hear about other people's stories, there is a chance that you can be hearing a lot of good things about those deals, not necessarily the bad all the time. And at the same time, you probably are losing the opportunity to reflect on how those people really make money when they say everything and they talk about everything as if everything is easy.
Yeah, anybody can say it's easy, but there's a lot of things. I mean, even I talk about the goods. I also talk about the bad. I try to, but there's a lot of bads that we don't talk about. A lot of There's a lot of things that go into everything that we do. It just we
Hmm.
don't have the time to sit there and explain it, or sometimes we just think that people don't really care to listen.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah. So you were running out of time, so I just wanted to make
Mhm.
sure that people have a way to reach out to you and work with you. So how can people reach out?
Right. Anyone can scan this QR code on the screen that would lead you to my digital business card with my contact information. You're also more than welcome to email me at info@steadyartcapital.com. And if you want to connect with me on Instagram, my Instagram handle is at investwithmitch.
Oh, okay. Cool. We'll make sure to have those in the description as well as your digital card as well. Michelle, thank you again for coming on. It was great meeting you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate like at the time chatting with you.